Hello and welcome to It's Stale Attack. In this video I will tell you about top 10 new epic fantasy series that premiered in 2022. Without a doubt this year has been amazing for fantasy genre fans. As we have seen the release of some of the best fantasy series that take you into their beyond the imagination realms, this list contains all the latest show. I didn't add any returning TV show. Let's get started, but before that, please subscribe to It's Stale Attack. At number 10 it's Wolf Like Me. It is a fantasy mystery series starring Isla Fisher and Josh Gad. The story revolves around Gary, a single father, and his little girl Emma, as they face the world after the loss of Emma's mother to illness. While Gary and Emma are still dealing with the stressful events left by Emma's mother's death, they encounter Mary, a very kind but strange woman who accidentally comes into Gary and Emma's lives. But despite Mary's best attempts to stay away from them, they keep bumping into each other, and to Gary's amazement she always disappears when they do. Meanwhile, Mary hides a deadly mystical truth from everyone in order to avoid making friends, while Gary struggles to reconnect with his daughter. However, the main drama starts when Gary learns Mary's mystery, which threatens to destroy not only their developing love, but also their lives. This may not appear to be a traditional fantasy show with epic battles or larger-than-life characters, but it does have a fantastic mythological plot combined with humor and emotional drama that makes it well worth watching. At number 9 it's Vampire Academy. It is a fantasy horror series developed by Julie Plec. The series is set in a strange modern realm where royal Norway vampires used to rule, and the Damper Guardians protect royal vampires and promise to defend them from the Strigoi, the immortal creatures with the thirst for blood. The central story takes place at St. Vladimir's School, which also operates as a Damper practice facility, and follows the adventures of Rose Hathaway, a half-human vampire known as a Damper, and Lisa Dragomir, a more vampire queen. The plot develops as Rose prepares to become a defender for her best friend Lisa, the last Moroi vampire of her royal blood. But when an unexpected threat emerges, things get tricky for the two friends as they try to safeguard their loved ones at their school. Overall, the series is addictive, especially for fans of vampire series or movies, and has loads of action, romance, mystery, and a stunning fantasy world that will not disappoint. Number 8 The Legend of Vox Machina. It is an animated high fantasy show based on Dungeons & Dragons web series. The show is set in the ancient kingdom of Alexandria, a mythical continent, and follows the journey of 7 losers who have become mercenaries with the sole purpose of making money. However, after a series of high-paying jobs, they are asked to embark on a perilous journey with a strange human named Percy, who comes to Whitestone to exact revenge on his parents' murders and asks for their help in combating an ancient evil. Overall, it is a high fantasy action-adventure series with the right combination of fun and drama, and even if you are unfamiliar with Dungeons & Dragons, you will find something to enjoy amidst this chaotic quest of these 7 heroes. At number 7 it's The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. It is a fantasy drama series based on fiction novel Half Bad written by Sally Green. The story centers on Nathan, whose father Marcus Edge, the most dangerous blood witch in the entire Fairburn Witch Society. Nathan Fathers has committed a terrible crime in the past. Because of his father's wrongdoing, the Order of Fairburn Magicians kept a close eye on Nathan out of fear. But as the conflict between the Blood Witches and the Fairburn Witches heats up, Nathan realizes he is the object of the historic witch hunt and chooses to escape with 2 other wizards to find out who he really is. It is an outstanding fantasy series with great world building, a ton of magic, and several well-executed plot twists. This is the most underrated show on this list and a must-see on Netflix. At number 6, it's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. It is a fantasy adventure series developed by J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. If you haven't seen the movies, you might not understand or enjoy some events fully, so I recommend seeing all 3 Lord of the Rings films before beginning this show. The story is set in Middle-earth's Second Age, decades before The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings movies, and recounts all the major events of this time, such as the construction of the Rings of Power, the arrival of the Dark Emperor Sauron, the ruination of the Mountain Empire of Numenor, and the final merger of elves and men. The main plot is around Galadriel, an elf warrior, and other prominent individuals who join her on her mission to confront the rise of evil to Middle-earth. If you've read the novels, you know that these things take place over a considerable amount of time, but they are compressed for the show, which doesn't work out very well. I've mentioned earlier that the show lacks original novel material, but it is still worth watching for the magical charm of Middle-earth and its stunning cinematography. At number 5 spot, it's Moon Knight. It is a fantasy action-adventure series centered on the Marvel Comics character Moon Knight. The story follows Stephen Grant, a compassionate salesman in a museum who starts having seizures and flashbacks, where he sees himself killing unknown people. However, Stephen discovers that he suffers from split personality disorder and that he shares a brain with assassin Mark Spector, and as a result of his crimes, unknown strange people attack him. While Steve doubts who Mark is, they are prepared to agree on their confusing personalities while being dragged into a terrifying conspiracy surrounding Egyptian gods, where they must stop a violent man completely focused on awakening a godlike entity with the potential to destroy the world. At number 4, it's Alchemy of Souls. It is a fantasy mystery series written by the Hong sisters. The show is set in the mythological country of Diho and focuses on the young magicians as they deal with their unusual fates. As a result of the sorcery technique called Alchemy of Souls, which allows spirits to switch bodies, the main plot revolves around a powerful warrior named Naxu, whose spirit is wrongfully confined inside the body of Mutiak, who happens to be Jank's servant. Meanwhile, Yang, a descendant of the wealthy Zhang dynasty, and has a mysterious secret that may be linked to the forbidden magical ritual Alchemy of the Soul. At number 3, it's The Sandman. It is a fantasy drama series based on Neil Gaiman's comic book published by DC Comics. The story focuses on Morpheus, one of the 7 Eternals, and the Celestial being responsible for all dreaming. This occurred when a sorcerer attempted to capture Death in exchange for an eternal life, but instead unintentionally trapped Dream, Death's younger brother. However, after spending 105 years in captivity, Dream manages to free himself and to undo the harm his disappearance has caused. He sets out in search of his stolen magical items, crossing various realms and universes. Meanwhile, the Corinthian, an escaped nightmare that has no interest in following the dream, makes this journey much more difficult. It was always going to be tricky to adapt a comic as imaginative and aesthetically stunning as The Sandman. However, with the help of wonderful characters, Netflix manages to brilliantly adapt Gaiman's books into a style that works remarkably well. At number 2, it's Wednesday. It is a dark fantasy supernatural mystery series created by Alfred Goh and Miles Miller. To be completely honest, nobody was prepared for this show to be as excellent as it was, and it really surprised everyone. The story follows Wednesday, whose parents Gomez and Morticia Adams register her at Nevermore, a university for supernatural dropouts that they themselves had previously attended while they were young. In the meantime, Wednesday finds it challenging to connect with other classmates due to her detached personality and decides to run away from the school. But when she finds out that the area has been devastated by a terrible killing rampage, she decides to stay and takes the opportunity to manage her developing telepathic ability to solve the unusual murder cases. At number 1, it's House of the Dragon. As expected, this turned out to be the best fantasy show of the year. It is an epic fantasy show based on a Song of Ice and Fire book series. The series depicts the beginning of House Targaryen's decline, as well as the actions that caused an epic war of succession, known as the Dance of the Dragons. The story begins decades before the events of Game of Thrones, when King Viserys Targaryen named his daughter Rhaenyra as the next heir to the Iron Throne, breaking a long-standing tradition and initiating their slow decline from power. However, when Viserys later had a son, the court was surprised to learn that Rhaenyra kept her position as his heir. Many were upset by this choice, which led to a power struggle among the Targaryen children for the Iron Throne. That's all for now. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Also give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to tell me in the comments that which series you like the most.